Hi friends, welcome back to arpitakarwa.com with the upcoming UGC NET attempt just around the corner. I know many of you are feeling a mix of excitement and confusion. Some of you might already be preparing for the exam while others are still on the fence wondering if this is the right step for your career. You might have questions like, am I eligible for UGC NET exam? What's the age limit for applying? What are the passing percentage that I would need in order to qualify? Or even you might be wondering, how will clearing this exam impact my career in the long run? And let's not forget doubts about exam pattern, cutoff, or even what kind of opportunity and salary expectation come after qualifying. All of these questions are natural and you are not alone if you are having them. In this video, we are going to guide you and answer all your queries related to UGC NET exam preparation. Today, we'll cover every single detail that you need to know about this exam. We are going to talk about the eligibility criteria, age limit, validity of the NET certificate, exam pattern, cutoff, salary expectation, and much more. So, whether you are a fresher trying to figure out if you should attempt this exam or someone already preparing but looking for a clear roadmap, this video will be the one-stop guide for all of you. So, stay tuned till the end because by the end of this video, you will have clarity on how should you move forward confidently in your UGC NET journey, and all the points that I'm discussing in this video is covered in a PDF form that is available with my team. In order to get that PDF, you just have to drop a message on the WhatsApp number that is displayed on the screen, and everything that you are going to see on the screen in this entire video is going to be shared with you in a PDF form on your mobile phone. So let's begin. So let us begin our discussion by first having an overview of the UGC NET exam. So UGC NET stands for University Grants Commission National Eligibility Test. So UGC stands for University Grants Commission, whereas NET stands for National Eligibility Test. And UGC NET is a crucial national level and entry level examination that is designed primarily for those who are aspiring to become assistant professors in India or those who want to do PhD in India. It's important to note that clearing this exam will not directly lead you to employment, but it is going to qualify you to apply for assistant professor position in university and colleges across the country. Now, when you sit for national eligibility test, you either clear NET, and if you are eligible, then you can also apply for JRF, which stands for Junior Research Fellowship. We are going to look at JRF in detail in this video, but just to give you an overview, those who qualify JRF, they get monthly stipend of about 30,000 rupees while they are pursuing their PhD. Now, this is a significant support for researchers as they work towards their doctoral degrees. Now, moving on, let's discuss the format of UGC NET exam, focusing on how it's conducted to ensure a smooth and fair examination process. Now, UGC NET is conducted in a computer-based test format, that is CBT format, ensuring a standardized test environment for all the candidates. Earlier, before 2018, it used to be a pen paper test, an OMR sheet based test. Now they have shifted it to CBT. They even tried to experiment and move back to the pen paper format, but that did not work out very well in the past. Now, if we talk about who administers this test, so it is administered by National Testing Agency, which is responsible for overseeing the fairness and integrity of the exam. And if you're not aware of what NTA basically does, so it is a testing agency that conducts so many exams. Specifically, if you've heard of JEE and NEET exam, they are conducted by NTA. Now, let's talk about how often is this exam conducted. So, UGC NET exam is conducted biannually. That means it is conducted twice in a year, typically in June and December. This gives candidate multiple opportunity to attempt and clear the exam within the same year. Approximately 10 lakh candidates appear for this exam in every attempt. So, if this happens in June and December, so even in June, 10 lakh students would sit, and then in December, another 10 lakh students would sit. This highlights its popularity and the competitive nature of securing a qualification. And friends, out of these 10 lakhs, only 6% students pass this exam. That shows how difficult this exam is. So, finally, before we move to the next section, let's break down the different qualification categories within UGC NET. So there are three major categories. The first one, category 1, are candidates qualifying for PhD programs. So that means anybody who falls under this category are eligible for admission to PhD programs with the provision of junior research fellowship, and they can also apply for assistant professor role. So this is the highest what this exam can offer. So somebody who qualifies JRF will be eligible to apply for PhD programs, will also become eligible to become an assistant professor, and that person will also get JRF fellowship, that is 30,000 rupees per month. So this is category 1. Now, we move to a slightly lower category. Students who secure a little less marks than category 1 students would fall under this category, category 2. Now, this category qualifies you for admission to PhD program without the fellowship, that is JRF. So, you don't get the monthly stipend from the government, but you also are eligible to apply directly for assistant professor positions. That means you can enroll in PhD program, also apply for assistant professor, but the only change from category 1 to 2 is that in category 1, if you are pursuing PhD, you get fellowship amount worth rupees 30,000 per month. Whereas in category 2, you do not get that amount. If you want to directly go and apply for jobs, then category 1 and 2 are same. Now we come to slightly lower category, that is category 3. Now in this category, candidates who are there a part of this category are eligible only for admission in PhD programs, and they are neither considered for JRF, they do not get fellowship, nor they can apply for the post of assistant professor. So they are not eligible for assistant professor appointments as well. So that's category 3. Your aim should be to fall under category 1 because it's going to give you all the privileges. But if in case you feel that you do not need stipend, or you want to directly apply for assistant professor roles, then category 2 will also serve the purpose. And if you do not want to become an assistant professor and just are looking for getting admission into any PhD program across India without stipend, then you can you can try and aim just for category 3. Now that we have understood what UGC NET exam is all about, let's talk about the benefits you get from clearing UGC NET and why it's more than just passing any random exam. Before that, please note that it can really make a big difference in your career and studies. So please take this exam really, really seriously. So the first benefit of clearing this exam is better academic recognition. Clearing UGC NET is a big deal in the academic world. It boosts your standing among scholars and even lets you add doctor to your name if you are doing a PhD post this exam. So it's a really big thing for your career, especially to add something in your profile, your CV. Next important thing is that if you qualify for Junior Research Fellowship, which is also known as JRF, you get a monthly stipend for up to 5 years while you are working on your PhD. This means you can focus on your research, you can study without worrying much about your finances. So research fellowship is another very important benefit that you drive out of this particular exam. Another important benefit that this exam adds is that it gives you eligibility for lecturership in India. Now, passing UGC NET exam makes you eligible to apply for lecturer position in any college or university across India. And if you're passionate about teaching, then this exam opens so many new doors for you. Because in India, in order to become a lecturer, you need to either have PhD degree or you need to have UGC NET. But with so much competition that is happening in the entire world, a person who has PhD along with UGC NET would be given more preference than somebody who has just one of these things. Now, the qualification of UGC NET would not just help you with teaching roles, it also paves the way for completing your PhD, engaging in research, or even securing a position in government departments. So, a lot of other career opportunities open up after you clear UGC NET because in government departments, certain vacancies are released, in which UGC NET becomes the minimum qualification criteria. So it opens up many exciting opportunities if you have cleared this exam. And finally, this exam is also going to help you secure scholarship, like the Prime Minister Scholarship Scheme that offers about 75,000 per month. So all these scholarships are available only to candidates who have cleared UGC NET exam, and these can greatly support you financially during your higher studies. So scholarship becomes another big benefit that you derive out of clearing UGC NET exam. So all these benefits show how valuable clearing this exam can be, and it's not just about the exam, it actually opens up a world of opportunities for your future. Okay, so now let's talk about money and discuss salary that you can expect after clearing UGC NET, because that's going to be a big consideration for many. Now, knowing what you might earn can help you plan your career path after qualifying this exam. So, if I talk about salary expectations, so the first important segment where you need to know the salaries would be if you become a lecturer in private universities. Now, here you can expect a salary ranging from about 30,000 per month to 70,000 per month. The variation would depend on university's location, your qualification, and the specific department that you are a part of. Another area where you can get employment would be government university, and here the salaries are pretty high. Here you might earn between 60,000 to 1,10,000 per month, and government position offer additional benefits like job security and pension, which add to the overall financial package. And if you choose to work in public sector organization and not take the traditional lecturership role, then there the salary range can be even wider. For example, it can range somewhere between 60,000 to 1,80,000 per month. Now, these roles often require specific skill sets and might include research positions, advisory roles, or administrative positions that value the UGC NET qualification. Okay, so now that we know about the benefits and salary that you can get after clearing NET exam, I'm pretty sure that the next question that might pop up in your head would be that this looks exciting. Can I know whether I am eligible to give this exam or not? So, in this section, we'll dive into the eligibility criteria for UGC NET exam, and we will understand who can apply and under what conditions. So, to be eligible for UGC NET, you need a master's degree with at least 55% marks. There's a 5% relaxation for ST, SC, differentially abled women, and transgender candidates. And it's crucial to ensure that your master's degree is from a recognized university. Every year, the NTA updates the list of recognized universities. So, before you enroll in a master's program, check that list to make sure that your university is recognized. So, what we just saw in this section is that master's degree is required with at least 55% marks. If you are still studying for your master's degree, you can also sit for the UGC NET exam, but only if you are going to complete your course requirement before 2 years of getting the NET certificate. So students who have cleared masters can sit for this exam only if they have secured above 55% mark, except the candidates that I've mentioned. Then another set of students who are going to apply for this exam would be the ones who are already pursuing their masters. The only requirement is that once you get your NET certificate, you should get your master's degree within 2 years of that particular certificate. And you need to get 55% in your master's also. So, if in case you are pursuing masters, you cleared UGC NET exam, but you did not get 55% marks in master, then your NET certificate is going to be invalid. Okay, and then now they have also added another set of students who can apply for UGC NET, and those are the students who are pursuing 4-year bachelor degree program. Now, according to the latest update, candidates who have completed 4-year bachelor degree program and have secured at least 75% marks can also appear for UGC NET. However, these candidates are only eligible for PhD and JRF, not for the assistant professor position. So, in order to become an assistant professor, you need to have a master's degree as well. So these are the kind of students who can sit and who are eligible for giving UGC NET exam. So now let's talk about the age requirement for UGC NET. There is no upper age limit if you are applying for the role of assistant professor or for PhD programs. So if you fall under category 2 and 3, there is no upper age limit. You can absolutely go ahead and sit for it even at the age of 80, 85. But there is a age cap for JRF students, that is 30 years. However, there is again a 5-year relaxation for candidates from reserve categories and those who are females. So for them, the age limit is 35, whereas for all the other people, the age limit is 30. So for assistant professor or just getting into PhD, there is no age limit, whereas if you want to get a JRF, then there is a age limit. Finally, we'll cover the number of attempts allowed for UGC NET exam, which is a great news for those who might need more than one try to clear this exam. And the great news is that there is no limit on the number of attempts or number of times you can appear for this exam. You can appear for this exam as many times as you want, which gives you ample opportunity to clear it at your own pace. Now, before we move on to the next important section, just a small message for all of you. This YouTube channel on which you're watching this video provides you crash courses and various other guidance videos where I share my insights, I talk about the syllabus, and I cover topics in detail. So if you are preparing for UGC NET, consider subscribing to the channel and also clicking on the bell icon so the next time I upload a video for UGC NET aspirants, you are notified. So now let's delve into the exam pattern of UGC NET, which is specifically designed to assess a broad range of skills and knowledge across two papers. So UGC NET is structured in two papers and you have a total of 3 hours to complete both the papers, and here's how it is organized. So we have two papers, paper 1 and paper 2. Paper 1 is also known as general awareness paper and paper 2 is known as a subject specific paper. So if we talk about paper 1, this paper tests your teaching and research skills along with your reasoning ability, comprehension, divergent thinking, general awareness, and it consists of 50 questions, each worth 2 marks each and summing up to 100 marks. So paper 1 is of 100 marks, having 50 questions, 2 marks each. Now we move to paper 2. Paper 2 is where you get to show off your deep knowledge in your chosen subject. Now here you can choose from 84 subjects that's there displayed on UGC NET's website, and any subject in which you have done your masters is available on that list. For example, a lot of my students prepare for UGC NET English, which is the code number 30. So they give UGC NET English, wherein paper 1 is a general paper that is given by everybody else. Paper 2 is a paper which specifically have questions from English literature. Okay. Now this paper, paper 2, contains 100 questions each, 2 marks each, and that totals up to 200 marks. So paper 1 is worth 100 marks, paper 2 is worth 200 marks. So a combination would be 300 marks for both the paper. And the marking scheme is pretty straightforward, 2 marks for each correct answer. Till now, there is no negative marking, there is no penalty for wrong answers. So this is such a big relief and it allows you to answer questions without the fear of losing marks for incorrect answers. Now let us move on to the exam syllabus, which is very, very crucial for your preparation as it sets the scope of what will be covered in the test. So paper 1 syllabus is going to test your general aptitude in teaching and research, and the syllabus is divided into 10 units, and everybody across all the streams, be it English, commerce, library science, yoga, whichever is your paper 2 subject, irrespective of it, your paper 1 syllabus is the same. Okay. So in paper 1, we have 10 major units. Unit 1 is teaching aptitude, 2 is research aptitude, then we have comprehension, communication, mathematical reasoning and aptitude, logical reasoning, data interpretation, ICT, information and communication technology, people development and environment, and higher education system. So these are the 10 major units of paper 1, and if you are looking for a place or a book that can cover all the 10 units in detail and can also give you PYQs so that you can practice after completing each of these topics. Then you can buy our Amazon bestseller UGC Net Paper 1 book that covers the entire paper 1 in a detailed manner, and that is one such book after which you do not need to refer to any other source because it is comprehensive. It is covering each and every topic. We have even highlighted the most crucial topics that are frequently repeated in net exam as exam essential. So the book is divided into 33 chapters so that you can cover UGC Net Paper 1 syllabus in just 33 days. So that is all about paper 1. Now let's talk about paper 2. So as I told you that paper 2 is a subject specific paper and you have a choice of 84 subjects. The list of all the 84 subject is given on UGC Net website. Now each subject has their own detailed syllabus which you should review depending upon your field of expertise. And since it's not feasible to list all the 84 subject syllabus here, I would recommend checking the NT official website for detailed syllabus of the subject you are interested in, and this will help you focus on your subject and cover all the relevant topics and prepare effectively for the exam. Okay, so now that we had a detailed discussion on syllabus, I'm sure that you all must be geared up to start preparing for it. And that is where another question might start haunting you, which is that how much marks do I need to get in order to clear this exam? So let's simplify the cutoff process for UGC NET exam and explain how you can qualify for NET and JRF using an example to make it very, very clear. So this entire cutoff process is divided into two steps. Step 1 is when you need to score minimum marks to at least make it to the cutoff list. You are still not going to qualify the exam if you score the minimum marks that we are going to discuss right now, but you will at least become eligible to make it to the cutoff list. So for general category candidates, you need to score at least 40% in both the papers together. So as we saw in the last section that the total paper combines of 300 marks. So you need to get at least 40% marks out of 300 in order to make it to the cutoff list. For reserve candidates, that means ST, SC, OBC, PWD, third gender, you have a relaxation of 5% and you need to score 35% in both the papers together to move to stage 2 of the cutoff calculation. Now, reaching or surpassing these minimum marks that we just saw in step 1 doesn't automatically qualify you for NET or JRF. Actually, what happens is another step after this point, and that is what we are going to discuss now. So, out of all the candidates who made the minimum score, only the top 6% are selected to qualify for NET. This means they are eligible to apply for lecturer positions or pursue PhD program. So, only top 6% of the candidates are going to get selected out of all those who surpass the minimum marks. Now, for JRF, what happens? Another layer adds up. So, the 6% candidate, 6% candidates who have qualified for NET, in this list, within this particular list, the top 6% of NET qualifiers will be the highest scorers, and these 6% students are going to be granted Junior Research Fellowship or JRF, which comes with additional benefits like stipend that they get during the PhD studies. Now, I know that this entire setup has become a little more complicated when I was explaining it. So I'm going to give you a practical example. Imagine that not 10,000. Let's take a more realistic number. Let's say 1 lakh candidates appear for UGC NET exam. All candidates need to first meet the 40% or 35% minimum scoring criteria. Let's say 60,000 candidates are the ones who have achieved minimum 40% or 35% depending upon their category. They have met the minimum scoring criteria. Now, from the 60,000 candidates, the top 6%, which amounts to 3,600 candidates, are going to qualify for NET. So, out of 60,000 candidates who have scored minimum marks, Another list is prepared, and that list will only have the top 6%, which accounts for 3,600 candidates, and only these 3,600 candidates are going to qualify for NET. Now, out of these 3,600 NET qualifiers, the top 6%, which is approximately 216 candidates, will earn JRF. So, if you see, if 1 lakh students appear for this exam, only 3,600 would qualify for NET, whereas only 216 candidates will get JRF. And this is how the cutoff is calculated. Okay, so it is very, very important for you to study thoroughly for this exam because the competition is fierce. And that is the reason why I would want to also bring to your notice that we are running online courses for UGC NET English as well as UGC NET Paper 1. So if you want complete guidance and tailor-made personalized study schedule which can ensure that you get to the JRF qualified list, then you can drop a WhatsApp on the number that is there on your screen, or you can check out our website arpitakarwa.com, where you will find detailed syllabus of UGC NET English that we cover in our course. You can go through that list, and only when you feel satisfied you can enroll in the course. Along with that, you can also check out the demo lectures before enrolling in the course so that you can see whether our teaching method aligns with your learning style. Okay, so now let's discuss the validity of UGC NET certification, which varies depending on what you qualify for: assistant professor, only PhD, or JRF. So if you look at assistant professor's validity, and if you clear UGC NET for this particular role, assistant professor role, where they would mention in your result qualified only for assistant professor. Okay, then your certificate has a lifetime validity. This means once you've cleared it, you are eligible to apply for assistant professor position indefinitely without needing to requalify after a point. Then for those who qualify only for PhD program, so only PhD ke andar if you qualify, then you see that your certificate is valid only for 1 year. This is to ensure that your qualification is recent and relevant at the time of your application to the PhD program. So once you clear UGC NET under PhD only category, within 1 year you will have to take admission in PhD program, or otherwise your certificate will become invalid. You will again have to appear for the exam, qualify it, and then apply for PhD. And finally, let us look at the validity of the certificate in case you cleared JRF. So if you clear UGC NET with a JRF, your certificate is valid for 3 years. This period is intended to support the beginning of your research career, giving you a solid start without the immediate pressure of securing a PhD program or enrolling in a PhD program. So if you qualify JRF, then within 3 years you can apply for PhD and you will start getting the stipend. If you decide to just clear JRF and become an assistant professor, then in that case your certificate is going to be valid for lifetime, just like we saw in the first case where it is lifetime validity. Only if you want stipend, then in that case you have to enroll in a PhD program within 3 years, otherwise you will not get the stipend. So I hope this video gave you a thorough understanding of what UGC NET exam is, and we tried to give you a walkthrough of the entire process so that all your confusion and doubts are clarified. If you are looking for more such informative videos, then you can consider subscribing to my channel. That's it from my side for this video lecture. We'll meet very soon in the next video lecture. Till the time we meet next, happy learning, keep loving literature, and stay tuned to arpitakarwa.com.